Welcome to the 2018 Dixie State Fall Sports Media Day. We're pleased to have you joining us, whether it be on the radio, ESPN 97.7 FM, on television, TDS Cable Channel 22, or online on the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page. Today we give you an inside look at the 2018 fall sports teams with football, volleyball, men's and women's soccer, and men's and women's cross country. As always, I'm Carrick Segmiller. I'll be your host today. I'm the Assistant Coordinator of Media Relations. I also do radio play-by-play here at Dixie State. I'm excited to be part of this Fall Media Day today. Before we introduce our first guest, let's meet the media members helping me ask the questions today. First, to my immediate right, Devin Dixon, afternoon drive host and play-by-play announcer at ESPN 97.7 FM. Thanks for being here today, Dev.
Yep, always a pleasure.
To his right, DSU beat writer for Southern Utah Today, Darren Cole. Darren, thanks for being here today. Let's jump right into it now. Our first guest making his annual appearance at the Fall Media Day is entering his 9th year as athletic director here at Dixie State. We're pleased to welcome Dr. Jason Booth to Fall Media Day. Jason, thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you here on the show. We'll just ask you to make an opening statement, and then we'll rock and roll with some questions.
Well, yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here, and we thank you for putting this together and for everyone on the behind the scenes that puts this together for us. It means a lot, and it's a very important part of our year. So thank you. But yeah, this is going to be an exciting year. We're starting in a brand new conference, one a very competitive, highly respected, very successful nationally. So we feel that we fit right in. Our teams are going to be very competitive and should be fun to watch. So we're excited to get things going. As
I mentioned in your intro, this is year 9 for you here, believe it or not. We were just talking about that before we started the show. Is it just incredible to look back on the growth that's occurred here at Dixie State over those 9 years as you see all these structures going up all over campus?
It's almost even unimaginable just what we've been able to do in 9 very quick years. I mean, we were joking before how quickly it's happened. I mean, when we moved here, my son was in 1st grade and he's now a freshman in high school. So it's at the blink of an eye, boom, there we go. But the growth is it's just remarkable. I don't even know if that word's even good enough to explain it. From the Holland Centennial Commons that was built since then, which has nothing to do with athletics, but it's a huge part of the university's success, and thankfully helps us. But the Human Performance Center that's under construction now, to the Trailblazer Stadium renovations, to our office building that we're in now, I mean, just to name a few. And it's just such an honor and a privilege to be a part of that, and it's really rewarding to look back on that growth. And that's just facilities, let alone we've added a couple teams, and our student athletes have grown by almost 100. Just in the GPAs have gone up over 3.0 every year. So it's great trajectory and great growth, and very, very proud of all the success that we've had.
Of course, another incredible year last year with men's basketball going on their run, and softball getting to the super regionals again last year. I'm sure right now just full steam ahead inside the athletic department. The East Grandstand's up, and community's excited. Yeah,
we're excited for the addition to Trailblazer Stadium. September 8th, our first home football game. It's the Chartway Kickoff Classic football game, and we're trying to get as many people to that game as possible. We're going to be cutting the ribbon on that new addition to the stadium, so hopefully be a fun and exciting night. A lot of things going on that night and at all of our games all year, so it'll be fun for the community to come support.
Jason, give our fans a little bit of insight. I know some of our football fans are now familiar with the new conference, but when you look at all the other sports, give us kind of overview, because you've been working closely with their commissioner and you know these programs a little bit better. Tell fans what we should expect in some of the other fall sports.
I don't think our fans should have anything to be concerned about as far as, we're going to a much more competitive conference and we're not going to win as much. No, I think we're right about going apples to apples. It's about the same. Pac-West was very competitive in a lot of sports, and so was the RMAC. Just the difference is kind of the more subtle things is that it's more state schools. So we're a little bit more on an even playing field with scholarships and funding and things like that. That perhaps with what we have here at Dixie State, it maybe puts us over the top a little bit more. Gives us a little bit more of an advantage that way. That could be incorrect, but that's just kind of how you see it on paper. You never know, of course, until you play the games or and see what happens. But I think we're going to fit in very well across the board in all of our sports. In the Pac-West, there were a few sports that were incredibly dominant that we were not in, that we're going to have an opportunity in the RMAC. on the flip side, there's a couple RMAC sports that are incredibly dominant, like national champions every year, cross country specifically, that our team isn't at that level yet. But it's a great measuring stick to show us where our program is, exactly with these schools that are running at altitude and winning national championships. So it's going to be it's going to push our teams to get that much even better across the board with this conference. That the biggest difference that our fans, I think, will appreciate is that every sport has a conference tournament, every one. In the Pac West, it was only the tennises and cross countries and golfs plus basketball. Now we'll have volleyball, soccer, softball, baseball. They'll all have an end-of-season conference tournament where if, let's say, baseball, we lose a couple players in the middle of the season and we lose a couple series or games that we weren't, we probably shouldn't have, and then we finished third instead of winning the conference title. Well, we're still in the conference tournament. You can still win the conference by winning the conference tournament at the end of the year by getting those players back and having a great weekend, and you can raise a flag, raise a banner, raise a trophy. So just another opportunity for our fans to celebrate and our student athletes to experience a good championship experience.
Obviously, there's been a little bit of talk around Southern Utah, and you and I have had a chance to talk before in prior conversations, but give us the latest. I know there's been some people that have insinuated the WAC has some interest in Dixie State University. What's the latest?
Well, not much has really changed since you and I talked back in June. I think it was on your show, Devin. We think there's an interest possibly down the road for us for Division I, and we've always thought that here internally for Dixie State, just with our facilities and the growth of the university. We're kind of on that track. We don't really know how soon or even if it would even happen. So as I mentioned over the summer, we have hired a consultant to help us with a study so that we have the information and we have the answers. Really, we can kind of craft our own answers internally. If and when we ever get an invitation, that's a big if, we won't have to do a whole study and take a year or 6 months to get an answer back to them. We can answer right away because they're going to want an answer right away, because if something happens, they're going to want to move on to someone else if we're not interested. So there's really no update other than that, but it is something that we're just keeping an eye on, and we're going to have this study in our back pocket, and it's always good to kind of see where you're at for the long-term planning anyway, to kind of see where you fit, to see if it's some far-flung dream that it'll be 15 or 20 years before we can achieve, or is it something we can do much sooner, and we don't know yet.
I want to talk a little bit about the attendance. I think we're fourth in the nation. Basketball is pretty good, and football has really increased over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about, you've been here 9 years, and I remember playing against Dixie back when I was in junior college, and the fans were packed. But that's when it was a community college. Most of the people in Southern Utah came to Dixie State, so they kind of had that built-in loyalty. And now with the Genesis moving to Division II, we have a lot of international or people from all over the country attending, and you've got the students coming. But what have you done as far as going into the community? And St. George has changed as well with a lot of retirement people coming in. What has the Booster Club or the university done as far as maybe generating more interest in the community? I know with the addition to the new stadiums built more, but how do we fill those stands, or how does Dixie State fill?
We're doing everything we possibly can, Darren. I think you asked this question last year, so it's really the same thing. We're throwing everything we can in the kitchen sink to try to do it. The difference is, back when you referred to back in the good old days, there was only maybe 2 high schools here or 3 high schools here, so there wasn't as much else to do in town. The town has grown so much, so now there's all the youth leagues and all these other things that we're just competing with for people's time. And so that's not an excuse, but that's just reality. So as the town grows, we have to do more to get it in front of them. So we're doing more digital advertising. We're doing just more grassroots stuff, because that's where people are going to see it and feel it and come. So it's doing promotions, like if you look at our website, all the promotions for every football game are there, what we're doing each day to try and get people there. It's the Chartway Kickoff Classic and the grandstand ribbon cutting, and we're going to do a bunch of little things during that game. The second game is Military Appreciation Day, and then you've got Alzheimer's Awareness Day later in the year. We've got Family Day in October, our game in October, where it's fall break, so families are free to come to the game. And then the last game of the year is homecoming. So there's themed promotions every game for football and basketball, and even a little bit in volleyball, softball, and baseball, to push people in awareness. It's just a matter of, we're just fighting that fight that, as a father of 3 kids that are going in 3 different directions on every day, from soccer to our other responsibilities. It is hard for families in Utah to say, I'm going to be at every football game and every basketball game. No, we get it. So we're just trying to fit in there in somewhere, and I think we've done actually a very good job with that, with our basketball attendance and even the football attendance, which we'll see an uptick this year, we hope.
When the grandstands are done, what's the total capacity with the new stadium?
We're at 10,000 right now for Trailblazer Stadium for seating. So like the 4th of July and the 24th of July had more than that because we were out on the field. But for a sporting event, we'll be at 10,000.
And then after Phase 3, does that increase a little bit more?
No, Phase 3 will be press box and locker rooms and offices and stuff, more behind-the-scenes stuff on that west side to clean that up, and ticket office and a store and athletic training room and that kind of stuff, more logistical things for our athletes and for the fans a little bit, for like a club seating area and suites and things like that.
Run out of time on this segment, but Jason, thanks for stopping by and joining us on Fall Media Day. I'm with you. The excitement right now is palpable in the air, and you can feel it to see campus grow. And excited to, you see those crowds on the 4th of July, on the 24th of July, and it just gets you excited to see. Can't wait to see those fans in that stadium and around here to attend our event. So thanks so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We got to take a quick break, but make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be joined by the football team on the other side of this timeout. There's more Fall Sports Media Day right after this. 24th of July, it just gets excited to see those fans in that stadium and around here to attend our event. So thanks so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We got to take a quick break, but make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be joined by the football team on the other side of this timeout. There's more Fall Sports Media Day right after this.
So we were walking to school. At the corner, we waited for the traffic light.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart,
want cheese pizza,
but
like at Luigi's.
sometimes her mind
They have this
wanders.
video game there, and Kate's got the high score. We should have a sleepover. Maybe I should pack my pajamas.
I remember saying, Laura? Laura,
I think I heard Mom say something.
the sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
When we finally got there,
She gave me a hug goodbye.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have
at
another
school
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back inside the 2018 Dixie State Athletics Fall Media Day, live from the CEC TV studios. Our first team is almost 2 weeks into fall camp and is looking to take a big step forward this season in 2018. Joining us now is the football team. Guys, thanks for being here. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I know you guys have been out hitting each other, ready to get out here in a few weeks and take on CSU Pueblo in Colorado. But thanks for being here today. Why don't we just run down the line? We know y'all, but let's have you introduce yourselves. Coach, start with you, and then run down the line and just say who you are and what position you play.
Shea McClure, head football coach.
Jalen Moore, DB.
Remington Kelly, defensive end.
Seja Luongo, running back.
Xavier Tolutau, offensive guard. All right, Coach, you want to just start us out with an opening statement and just kind of update us on fall camp and how that's gone, and then we'll jump right into the questions.
Sure. Yeah, first of all, appreciate you guys having us. This is always a great event, bring these young men and give them an opportunity to get in front of the camera and tell them about who they are and why they're here and those type of things. We are, heading into and kind of near the end of week 2. A fall camp with school starting up on Monday, so this is really the end of it. We'll finish up on Saturday with a scrimmage. There's been a lot of great competition. There's still jobs wide open, and we'll continue to evaluate those and all the way up until, Thursday that we leave to go down to Pueblo. So it's been a great camp. Really happy with the way the young men have gone out and handled their business and competed, and I'm excited.
Coach, talk to me about some of the battles in camp. It's always fun to get your perspective on where things are heating up a little bit. I know it's always a competition for you and your coaches all the way through till that first game.
Sure. Yeah. No. Again, I think especially we've got depth. At tailback, CJ, a couple other young men, a freshman, Starks, Desmond Davis. So it's always fun. To add pieces in there and what role are they going to serve, and again, how many reps are they going to get, and take some of the load off CJ maybe a little bit, maybe be able to use CJ in some different situations. The defensive line, as you and I talked, on the radio a couple weeks ago, the defensive line is loaded. Who's going to be the starting 4 come September 1? I couldn't tell you today. I mean, we are deep, probably 2.5 deep at each one of the positions, and it excites me because it isn't a position we've been in before. And I think, again, and I said this 3 years ago when I took this job, is you got to win up front. And I think we're starting to put that into play after 2.5 years of recruiting and finding the kids that we want and how they're going to fit in our system. Really excited. We're deep at linebacker. And then in the secondary, it's just a lot of young guys who have come in hungry, challenging, competing. Now it's taken some while for them to catch up to the college game, the speed of it, the scheme that we use, the terminology we use, the things we ask them to do. But I'll tell you what, athletically, they are right there with every one of our returners, and it's exciting to see.
Coach, I was at commencement this past spring. My son graduated, but I'm looking at the program, and I'm seeing all these players graduating. I'm going, wait a minute, I thought he's coming back. And I ran into Trayvon afterwards, and he goes, oh, yeah, we're all coming back. So you have a lot of graduated seniors. First of all, talk about, the dedication for them to graduate on time. I think some of them were redshirts, but what kind of difference are they making in camp as, 50-year seniors as far as the leadership?
Sure. Well, we have one here with us. Remington Kelly graduated, so he has his degree and now is in his second major. But, obviously leadership does come from a lot of different places. We never talk about the senior has to be the leader, the junior has to be the leader. We want leaders from our freshman class all the way up. Now, the guys that have been through camp, been through the battles of, for us, the RMAC, we've been in for 2 years, so we know what we're getting into, as listening to Jason talk, so again, just the experience that those guys bring. And I think it's really going to rear its head more so when we get into the season. Hey, this is what you better expect when you walk into CSU Pueblo, when you walk into Colorado Mesa. Here's the environment you're going to walk into, and you guys better be ready. So I think that experience is going to play a big role for us.
Coach, how would this year's fall camp compare to your other 2 that you've been as a part of now? I know around the camp a lot of the talk is about chemistry and how strong that team chemistry is for you guys this year. I want to talk about how important that is for your team, and then number two, how this compares to the other camps in the past.
Sure, and I felt like we had a really strong group in 2016 when we took over the program and the locker room, and that's how I call it. The locker room was a very close-knit, tight group. Hall headed in the right direction, same direction. I felt like we took a step backwards in 17, and I thought it hurt us. So in the offseason, as a coaching staff, when we talk not only about our current players, but in recruiting, bringing in what we call a Dixie guy, and so again, I think we've done an awesome job in just looking at our roster, getting to know these kids even more. You get to know them for, a year in the recruiting process, but you really find out about them when you get to go out and coach them on the field and watch them interact with your current players. And I have that same feel as I had in 16. This is a close-knit group of guys. Now, they'll get after each other a little bit on the practice field, and by practice 8, they're tighter to hitting each other, so it's a little heated. It's like watching the ESPN and seeing all these fights in NFL camps. But, once they cross that line and go back in the locker room, I really feel a tightness to it, and it is important. And, this is year 24 for me in coaching in the college game, and I realized, several years ago how much that means. The X's and O's and the Mo's and Jo's are all important, but if there is a separation, if you got even one guy wanting to go a different direction or a me guy, it can bring down the whole group.
Right along with those lines, you've got new coordinators on both ends of the ball, Blake Rowland on offense, and then Willie Mack Garza. Of course, he was here as the D-backs coach last year, so he's not new to the staff, but new as the defensive coordinator here. How have they kind of transitioned into what you guys want to do as a team in fall camp this year?
It's been really good. I mean, obviously both were in those roles in the spring, and so for the returners, it's old hat. For the new guys, it's a lot of new stuff. But again, in the springtime, you're only able to implement so many things in 15 practices. So, as we went through spring and now through summer and back into the fall, and I think even our returners would say, we have truly changed on both sides of the ball. There's a different mentality. We're running different things, not only schematically, but, technique-wise. And so there's a lot of change. I think our kids have reacted well to it. They're all very open-minded, and I see progress every day in practice. And that's the thing that's important to me. Again, we do have 2.5 weeks until game 1, and I do see progress every day and fewer mistakes. And there's going to be mistakes made, especially with 2 new guys and a lot of young kids coming in that are competing for time. But again, it's exciting. Willie Mack and Blake are doing an awesome job, as are all my assistants. But just seeing the little nuanced changes as on defense and how Willie thinks different than Coach Howe did, and it's unique. So it's exciting for me. I love it. Kind of refreshing as a coach. You get to see and learn new things, even as a head coach, an old dog around here. You're always picking up something, so it's fun.
Coach, got to go back to last Saturday night. You guys did get a little scrimmage in. Take me through how the quarterbacks look, 1, 2, 3s, even go to 4s. Give us a little update on how that battle's going.
Yeah, well, we held out Mike Sanders, precautionary, just, he had a little ding here and there, so we held him out. So, again, we got all the other guys a lot of reps, Trent Darms, Easton, and then our couple of new guys. And, after scrimmage 1, Easton probably took a step ahead in that battle for 1-2, depending on what's going on. Trent probably became number 3. Chase Peterson, we've decided to redshirt. He's our true freshman quarterback. Josh Thompson is right there, kind of behind those other 2 guys right now. So, again, it's an ongoing process, and every day can change a little bit. Easton, brings an athleticism to the position. Has played wideout before, really good athlete, played baseball a lot early on. So, again, I think he's kind of taken the bull by the horns a little bit. Now, again, time will tell. We're going to get after it Saturday night, and it's going to be more realistic. We're going to have officials there and truly play a game type of situation where coaches aren't going to be able to stop them. Hey, Mac, blow the whistle. I need to fix this. There's not going to be none of that going on. So, lights come on and those D linemen start buzzing around his head. We'll see what happens.
Coach, talk a little bit about your scheduling. Last year you started out with probably the weakest team in the conference. This year, you're right out of the gate. You're hitting someone, a top opponent hard, and then your off-conference game is not a gimme. It's the top 10 ranked team in the country. Talk a little bit about the reasoning behind that scheduling.
Well, I don't get to set up the conference schedule. They do that for me. So, yeah, no, I didn't get to choose to go to Colorado State Pueblo to open up. But bring it on. That's fine. We'll go into Pueblo and we'll handle ourselves just fine. And so, in this conference, and again, from top to bottom, and this is the truth, there is no off week. There is no, hey, I scheduled these guys, or hey, we get to go play so-and-so, so we're going to play a lot of backups and get up by 50 at halftime. It doesn't happen. This is college football. They have scholarships just like we have scholarships. They coach just like we coach. I mean, there ain't no difference really from 1 to 11 in this conference. Are very slim. I mean, look, Colorado State Pueblo went into Fort Lewis last year and got their butts handed to them a little bit, and so you never know. Now with the Grand Valley State thing, it was an opportunity, and that's how we look at it. It's not, oh my gosh, we get to go play Grand Valley State or have to or anything like that. Grand Valley State said, hey, we have an open date. Would you consider coming out here? And we, Coach Booth and myself talked about it, and it's like, heck yes. Why would you want to go schedule somebody to win by 50 points? That's not what we're about. This program's about competing, playing against the best, and finding out who you are. And so we're going to walk into Grand Valley State. We're their homecoming game. Go ahead, schedule us for that. There's going to be 25,000 people there. This place is going to be rocking, and we're going to walk out that tunnel, and our cleats are going to look just like theirs, and we're going to get after it. We'll find out what happens.
Let's bring some of the players on. You guys have been kind of sitting over there letting Coach do the talk and maybe getting a little antsy and want to get your comments out too. But so let's just go on down the line. I want to start with you, Jalen. You're kind of that veteran on the corners this year. Tynell Cooper, one of those that graduated, and he's playing in the CFL now. Good for him up in Canada. But second team All-Conference last year. I know some of us were maybe a little disappointed with how some of those all-conference results ended up last year, but that's water under the bridge now, and got maybe some motivation going forward. But Jalen, you're that veteran coming back in the corner. How's camp been, and how excited are you to get out there and kind of lock down those receivers in the RMAC again?
Well, I think that camp has been better than last year. Last year there was just a lot of people, a lot of freshmen came in and kind of just gave me the spot and stuff like that. Like back in 2016, there's a lot of people competing, a lot, and that's what made us closer. You know what I mean? This camp, everybody's competing. It don't matter what spot it is. Like there's a lot of freshmen that came in, and I'm a veteran. And they would come to me like, oh, Jalen, I know you know the spot, but I'm coming for you. I love to compete, and that's gonna bring the dog out of everybody.
And where those, obviously the expectations is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. RMAC Defensive Freshman of the Year in 2016, second team All-RMAC last year, and I'm sure, I said on first team and above this year.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really looking at the awards this year. I'm just really looking at how my team is playing. My team this year, we're looking at being, top 2, top 1. This year I'm not looking at no award. If I get it, I get it. That's great. Yeah. But if I don't, it's fine.
Jalen, you guys only gave up 168 yards through the air per game. That was really good last year. Mm-hmm. With the unit you have and the competing, is that a mindset? You guys have a number in mind? And what have you been doing in the offseason to get ready for this season? Because I know it takes a lot even before fall camp starts.
Yes. In the offseason, I would go home for like a month, and I would train, and then the team would be here in the summer, and on their free will, and we would all just get out on the field, and we would just, and I would teach the freshmen, I would teach the the backers, the people that's coming, JT and Mike Jones. We will all just get out there, and we're just competing, and that's really how we mold together. Like if we're out there every day, and we're telling each other, okay, yeah, you gotta do this. He's tweaking me, I'm tweaking him. Shoot, when we get out there, it's easy. It's like that. So yeah, but yeah, it takes a lot of work in the off season. You can't just take you can't take a day off, because if you take a day off, then somebody's getting better than you, and we all know that. So,
Remington, I'm curious, the fifth year. Was that an easy decision to come back, play that fifth year, or were you in limbo for a minute? What's the backstory on that decision?
It's pretty easy when you see what we do have building here. A lot of our defense returns, a lot of our offense returns. We have guys like Jalen, like Mike, guys who missed last year with injury, like Shiloh. So getting those guys back, it gives you something to really look forward to. I don't think any of us were too happy with how last year ended, and so it's kind of another chance to write that little path. And so no, it was once I sat back and thought about it, I mean, you only get this opportunity once, so you may as well take advantage of it.
You guys were picked 4th in the conference preseason poll. Feel like that's okay? You feel like that's good, bad, or how do you feel about it?
I mean, that's fine with me. It's preseason. That's all just kind of guessing. Like Pueblo's won the national championship. It's all just kind of what's happened in the past. And so 4th, yeah, it's a great honor to be up there that high. But we have all season to prove that where we think we should stand.
So AJ, you know, I think you have the highest passing rating in Dixie State history with your sole pass being a touchdown, a long touchdown pass. But talking about your role kind of changed a little bit last year. You got a lot more carries. And what do you see as your role this year as far as, is it going to increase, you think, or is there going to be, is there a different type of scheme where it's going to be different this year? Or
I feel like every year my role will increase with this team because with the incoming freshmen coming in, and then you have all the new running backs that came in this year, they kind of like look up to you. So in a way, I know my role will increase this year, but I think taking a big part in that role is a great humbling.
AJ, I mean, you've always been big and muscly, but I saw you at fall camp, you know, the first days this year, and I'm like, whoa, he hit the weights hard over the summer. How big is that, and what you want to do as far as being able to, you know, shake guys off and yards after contact, that type of stuff?
Well, I went home and off. I didn't really think I was gonna, come back that really chunky, but I mean,
well, I didn't mean chunky. I mean, you're strong.
That's all. And then. But yeah, I went home in the offseason. I told myself that I really wanted to be an RMAC champion, no matter if it's this year or next year. But that's the goal this year, is to be an RMAC champion. So I think that's my goal in the offseason, was to get bigger so I can help our team to reach that goal.
Let's go down to Tevye. And, there's a lot of talk on the defensive side of the ball. They're bringing back a lot on that defensive line. And then you look on the offensive line. You're coming back. Brandon Turner's coming back. But after that, there's a lot of guys that maybe we don't know about. They'll step in, they'll fill their roles nicely. But what kind of a leadership role have you taken on this year, saying, hey, I'm a senior. This is my last year playing football. We want to make sure that we're making the holes for CJ and these guys to be able to run through.
Yeah, for sure. In regards to my leadership role, I feel like it's just try to play my hardest, play my best, be an example that way. More than by words. I felt influenced to say things when I need to, pull the freshmen aside when I feel like I should. But nothing more than that. These kids were brought here for a reason. They're all very athletic, physical kids. I think it's just bringing that out of them more than anything. We brought in a lot of good kids, I'm stoked to see these kids in 2-3 years. I mean, they're going to be so ready for everything that the RMAC has. I know that. I'm really excited about all of their futures. But yeah, my leadership role has been very minimal. They're all solid kids. So yeah, we're excited to see in the next couple weeks, as we start to prepare for Pueblo, kind of what comes of it. So.
We're running out of time here, but Coach, just wanted to go back to you, and you've heard each of your players speak, and how excited are you for these guys, and just to get out and get going against Pueblo this year?
It's always great, when I look down and, I guess I asked these young men to come with me, but I asked them to come for a reason. They are truly a microcosm of our entire program, and Tevye brought it up, and I laugh because he calls them kids, because he's a lot older than most of them, so I think they call him dad sometimes. But no, I mean, again, we talk a lot about winning and competing, but at the same time we talk about what kind of person you are, how you treat people, how you handle yourself. And again, like I said, these 4 young men are truly, who we are as a Dixie State University football program, and I'm proud to say that. Now, like Jalen said, the awards, the accolades, all those things are great. You can pick us 4th, you can pick us 11th. I don't care. I mean, it's kind of like the national rankings at the Division II level. Nobody knows who you are. you're going to go out, you're going to walk out on September 1st, you're going to end on, November 11th, and at the end of it, you're going to find out where you are and if you're moving on or not, and so that's why you play this game, and it's exciting every year.
Guys, thanks for stopping by today. We're kind of running out of time on the segment, but I know that you guys got some lunch waiting for you, so we'll get you out of here and get you going back to that. We don't want to stand in between you guys and.
Are you buying lunch?
Your lunch? Or, well, you said that you got to get let's go first so we can get these guys to lunch.
I thought you were buying lunch.
Well, maybe I am. No, no. Thanks for coming by, and a big thank you to you guys. And it's a busy schedule in fall camp, and we love hearing from you. We're excited to see what you guys have in store this year.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Robin Felder and the women's volleyball team. We're right back after this timeout. Thanks, fellas.
Working, so
hey, thank you.
I never thought that I could go back to school, My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Bye, Janet. It's nice seeing you again. You a good girl. Just let me know what I can do to help.
Well, to help me, she'd have to help every day. Every hour, every ouch, every time my wife calls for help. I mean, maybe she could help me make her lunch. But the crust, all the crust has to be cut off the corners. She could help me run to the doctor for the 5th time this week. Help me with the specialists and the second opinions and the painful paperwork of our paperwork. Help me deal with how hard it is seeing my wife's name on so much paperwork. But this is on me. I'm the only one who can do this, like this, for her. Besides,
take care.
We will. Janet doesn't like her cooking anyway.
Find support for your strength. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community.
Your daughter is having trouble learning French. Do you A, hire a tutor?
Bonjour.
B, enforce a French-only rule at home? Or C, watch some foreign films? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hey, Gabby, how you doing? How was the play date and sleepover?
Dad, it was great.
Awesome. Okay, I'm on my way. Hey, guys, what are you doing?
We're going swimming. We're going biking. Yeah!
I'll see you in a little bit, guys. I love you.
Hi, babe. How was school today?
Hi, Dad. It was great.
Okay, honey. I'll be home soon. Remember, you're never too far away from your kids to be a dad. Reach out and take a second to check in, because sometimes the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Inside the CEC TV studios, where Dixie State Fall Media Day rolls on. Our next team is looking to make a splash in its first season in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Please welcome the women's volleyball team to the Media Day set. Before we jump right into the questions, first of all, thank you for being here. Let's just run down the table. Coach, we know who you are. We know these players as well. But let's have you all introduce yourself and tell us maybe what year in school you are and what position you play for the volleyball team.
All right. I am the coach. I'm Robin Felder. This is my 7th year.
I'm Hannah Doonan. I'm a senior outside hitter.
I'm Lauren Gamble, and I'm a right side hitter.
I'm Sydney Brandon, and I'm a senior libero.
Well, awesome. Thanks again for being here with us today, and we'll just dive right into it. And like the football team, you're coming up on almost your 2nd full week of fall practice being done. Just like them, I'm sure you're ready to go out and play somebody different, and that happens next week. But right now, you're still focused on you and what you need to do to get ready for that. Coach, just have an opening statement, kind of take us through how practice has been the last few weeks, and then we'll dive into the specific questions.
Yeah, so we're on week 2. We are excited, honestly. I mean, we're sore as all get out, and we're working our butts off. But it's exciting to see just the chemistry, the camaraderie we have already. Our incoming freshmen look fantastic. Our upperclassmen are carrying the load. So energy-wise, it's awesome. We got to go to Azusa this last weekend and play some scrimmages against some other D2s and kind of see where we need to get better within the first week. So that was fun to try some different lineups and see where we were at. And then we've got our alumni match this weekend, so we'll get to hopefully take care of business there. And then we head to Nampa. So we're ready to roll.
Coach, just curious your thoughts on the RMAC, the quality of teams, what your expectations are, how you'll fit in, and give us kind of an overview for volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, the RMAC's definitely a change for us. And a lot of times when you switch conferences, the style of volleyball is different. Some are more offensive, some are more defensive. Just from what we've seen in the RMAC in the past, just a little bit more of a defensive conference, kids that can dig the ball and just kind of wait for you to make an error versus big bangers, kind of like what the Pac West has. So I think we'll fit in really nicely. We come in at 7th, which for us, we're like, sweet, we're underdogs. Let's go. Let's just, no target on our back, so we can just play volleyball. But we've got higher goals than obviously that. So we're ready to get in there and see what we can do.
I know Coach Richards, last year was a lot of excitement. He was joining the staff. How's that been a huge asset for you and the girls?
Yeah, Dave is, I mean, we just loved it. Everybody sees Dave and they go, oh, Dave, because he's like a grandpa that knows how to play volleyball really well. But he's just that role that we needed him to fill as far as just coach-friend relationship. He's awesome to have in the gym. He's super positive. He loves volleyball. He's just passionate about it. So having Dave on staff back again is awesome. We also brought back Mackenzie Bird. She helped the year after she graduated. She was like one of the all-time favorite kids here because she just represents what this program is about. Outwork, out talk, out hustle. She's gritty, she's feisty, and she's carrying that over as the coach as well. So it's fun to have Bird back.
Coach, just curious, a couple newcomers that you're really excited about that can crack the lineup and should see significant playing time this year. Who are those players?
Yeah, I mean, we brought in a couple junior college kids. Toa is one, newly married. Her last name is Valieo Beich now. Anyways, but she's just a kid that can play anything. She brings tons of heat, tons of energy. Everybody loves Toa. And then we've got Megan Trainer in that was a late addition from Slick as well. She can bang, she can set. She's just that kid that you just know is going to bring it every day. So we're really excited to have both those kids transfer in from us, from Slick.
Coach, last year was kind of a down year compared to the previous years, but even as I interviewed girls after games, they said, oh, we're still one of the better teams. Even that's how they had that mindset. And has that mindset continued into this season, even though you came off a year where you weren't competing for the conference championship?
Yeah, I mean, we had so much to learn last year. We had 2 returners. We just had so many young kids that didn't know our system, that didn't know how to compete at that level that we're learning. And we've just brought so many kids back that know what they're doing this year. We've brought some newcomers in that are just fitting in so nicely. But I just think having that core group back, our setters are back, our middles are back, you just have just that consistency that everybody knows what they're doing now. So, yeah, last year was a down year, but we're expecting this year to compete right away, honestly.
Let's jump in, and the time goes so quickly here. We want to hear from you players as well. Of course, you go to Nampa, Idaho first for your first regular season games, and you come back and get to host the big tournament here. And one change is that you were going to play that tournament in the Burns Arena, and I'm not sure if that's really ever been done before, at least since we've been D2. Most of the volleyball games are at the Student Activity Center. So let's start with you, Hannah. What's it been like practicing and knowing you get to play a little bit in the Burns instead of just up in the SAC?
It's been really, really fun. It's a different kind of feel. I feel like it's a little more, I don't know, important. Like I love the feel of the big arena. There's a lot of space to make really good plays. We can run down balls and save a lot of plays. And I'm really excited I think we can fill the Burns, honestly. It's Labor Day weekend, so I think there's going to be a lot of people in town, and we're going to have a lot of fans. I know a lot of the parents are coming, and it's really exciting to get the opportunity to do that.
Those video boards are a little bit higher than, say, maybe the Student Activity Center, so you don't have as many balls hitting the roof, I'm sure. But go on down the line with Lauren. What's different maybe about this year's team versus last year's team as you get ready through these first couple weeks of fall practice?
I feel like this year's team, we just have so much depth. We have so many players. We have 21 people on our team, which is insane because only like 1/3 of that get to play. But it's just so fun that we all get to push each other, and there's like 4 positions 4 people in each position, and we're just competing against each other for that spot. So I think that it helps our team become even more competitive this year.
Lauren, you had 217 kills last year.
Uh-huh.
What have you worked on in the off season, and do you have a number in mind this year, like a goal that you'd love to try to reach? Have you worked on your vertical, or what have you done?
Well, yeah, I've worked on my vertical, and I've worked to get faster and stronger this year, getting in the gym, playing in some outdoor tournaments to get some extra reps, and just those things to get better for this season. I don't really have a goal in mind, just to increase that number even more this year.
Sid, how's chemistry right now through camp? How's it compared to last year?
Much better than last year. Last year our team was a little bit younger and the flow wasn't going as well. This year it's great chemistry. Even when we went to Azusa this past weekend, it felt awesome on the court. I was telling Coach it felt like we were a family out there. We were playing together, and it just made things so much easier. It makes playing volleyball easy when it's so cohesive out there.
Sid, you played a lot as an underclassman. It seems like you've been here forever. But talk about, in the Pac West, you had big rivalries with certain teams. I mean, Cal Baptist always raised the tension up, it seemed, whenever they came. Have you played any teams yet, or do you know any of the teams that you're going to play in the new conference that you have any sort of rivalry yet, or do you think one just has to develop?
We definitely want to beat Metro State. We played them last year in preseason, and they beat us, but we weren't playing to our best potential. I know this year, if we play to our best potential, that we can definitely take them in 3, in my mind, I think. And Westminster, I always think, is a competition, but that's because we're all from up north on the team, majority of us, so it's kind of like a hometown. Our family get to come watch, and we just want to show what we got out there.
Sid, take us through kind of the mindset of the libero out there. You know, you're not the one, you're not up there, you're not getting the kills, you're not doing anything, but you're digging balls out and whatnot. But take us through the mindset of that as you get set, for each serve and what you've got to do to make sure everyone's in the right place every play.
It's definitely a position where you kind of have to be selfless. You want to have success for your teammates as well as yourself, but you start things, you got to get that good pass. To have your hitters get a kill, you have to have the good pass. But yeah, basically our mindset is to not let anything touch the floor, to try to read the hitters as best as we can, not let tips fall, and basically set up our hitters for success.
Hannah, what do you think the biggest strength of this team will be this year?
Honestly, I think it's our defense. Personally, I've had some frustrations offensively in practice because our defense has been so strong this year. And like Coach said, I think we're gonna fit into the conference really well in that aspect.
Lauren, your setters, I mean, they're young, right? You guys developed, though, a good cohesion with them? Or?
Yeah, we have super good chemistry with all the setters. I feel like I could hit off any of them and it would be the same.
And back to you, Sydney. I remember a couple of years ago you split time with another player, and I remember the coach said, "Well, Sydney's really good at the tips, and the other was really good at the fast ones coming in." Or it could have been the other way around. I just remember one was one was the other. Do you think you've developed in both areas now? How do you feel as far as your growth playing the last couple of years, as far as handling both of those?
I definitely feel like I've got more successful at the harder hits. The tips have always just come easy to me because I've kind of been reckless in the way of just throwing my body everywhere. But Coach has definitely taught me how to read hitters, to see how their arms are angled, which way balls are going to go. So it makes it much easier than when I was coming in as a freshman. I kind of didn't know that aspect of volleyball. I just knew, like, get the ball up. Whereas now I'm like, okay, I have to read the hitter, see where their hips are, things like that.
The time goes so fast, and we're kind of running out of time here already. But Coach, we want to go back to you and just talk about, kind of like we did with football, is you brought these 3 players with you for a reason, I'm sure, and you're going to be team leaders this year. But just talk about what these 3 mean to the team and how excited you are for them this year.
I mean, Hannah is the voice of our team. She's always talking. She's loud. She's not afraid to keep kids accountable. That's why she's one of our captains this year, because she's not afraid to be like, hey, this is not good enough. Let's step up, you guys. So I love that about Hannah. She's a leader. As far as Lo, I mean, we call Lo King Kong sometimes because she just hits the ball, and she's up so high. She increased her vertical immensely this year. She's over 10 feet, and she just swings. She's aggressive all the time. So that's what she's going to bring, is tons of offense. She's a lefty. She's hard to read. She jumps well. I mean, she's going to be a stud this year wherever we put her. And then Sid, I mean, Sid's been here forever. I can't believe it's her senior year, but Sid's got leadership. I mean, she's one of the top liberos in our old conference. She will be one of the top liberos here. She's solid, she's smart, she loves volleyball, and she's just a leader as well. So these three, I mean, we definitely expect big things from all of them.
Well, thanks so much for stopping by. We're excited to see how you do up in Idaho next weekend already. Goodness, that's coming up. And then really excited for that tournament back in the Burns here in a couple weeks, and being part of that and how fun that will be. So thanks for being part of our Media Day today.
Thank you.
We've got to run to our next break. Fall Sports Media Day continues with the women's soccer team right after this timeout.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. And I appreciated it very much, the attention that was given it. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun, it's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George, 100.3 FM.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Fast-paced family life in need of a slowdown?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Did you know all those green shapes on maps are parks and forests? It's true. Visit discovertheforest.org and plan to visit a park or forest near you, instead of just wondering what it would have been like.
While the word forest might make you think of distant lands from far, far away, please note parks and forests are closer than you think, which means things like beautiful scenery, fresh air, and family time are also closer than you think.
We are back with more from Dixie State Fall Media Day inside the CEC Television studios. Our next team gets set to enter a new season and a new conference under the guidance of a new coaching staff. Let's welcome the women's soccer team to Media Day. Coach, appreciate you being here and bringing your players. We're excited to have you here and excited for your new season, and really excited to see how this first season goes with you and your new coaching staff here at Dixie State. We know you Coach Lucy, but let's just have all four of you just introduce yourself briefly. We'll go down the line and we'll jump right into it with the questions.
Jerry Lucy, head women's soccer coach.
I'm Alexa Ashton. I'm a senior.
I am Nicole Mertz, and I'm a senior.
I'm Kylie Alsop, and I'm a senior as well.
Coach, let's just start off with kind of an opening statement. How has the practice has gone? I know it's just only been a few days for your team, but how have the practices gone this last week, and what can we look for this year out of this year's team?
Yeah, practices are getting better bit by bit. It didn't start off the best, A little bit rough on the first day in terms of fitness levels, but it's improving. You know, the attitudes have been good. I think we had a very good day today, so we actually gave them the afternoon off. But yeah, it's we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a big challenge, but I think we're going to be up for it. So excited.
Coach, talk about your, I guess your offensive strategy, your defensive strategy. What are you doing different? What's been maybe the toughest for these girls to adjust with you coming in and taking over the program?
Well, I think in the spring, we tried to play a different style. So we want to play a more possession style than under the previous coaching staff. So it's a big change. And there's just the tactical side of the game changes, the technical part of the game changes for everybody. So it's still early in pre-season. We have a lot of new players, a lot of new faces in there. So we haven't even kind of touched on that much yet, but we will get to that. But I think the returning players, obviously, the way that we played in the spring, fitness wasn't great in the spring. The way that we want to play, we need to be very fit in order to play that style of soccer. And but I think we'll get there. These girls have been fantastic. These three in particular have been fantastic, passing fitness and attitude and being true leaders on the field. So looking forward to everything as we step closer.
Coach, talk a little bit about you're new and your philosophy is no one's going to know what to expect from Dixie State.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to learn a whole new conference,
Yeah.
coming in. And what's your do you have any familiarity with RMAC or with any?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, years ago played against Metro State in Final Four. We lost, so got a bone to pick with them. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a very, very strong conference. It's a quality conference. You got the top four that they've listed in the preseason. They're four quality programs. They've chosen us as fifth, but there's those who are falling in behind us as well, just in a poll, which you still believe are a very strong program. So this is one of the better conferences in the country. I don't think we go to any game believing that we have a win in the bag. We got to work hard for everything. So the girls will be well prepared in all aspects of the game, attacking and defensively, and hopefully we'll be ready to meet the challenges.
How much time have you spent watching their games from last year?
Well, I did a lot before I was interviewed to be familiar with them. Yeah, obviously I had to be familiar with what I was getting myself into. So I think we have a lot of talent on the squad. I liked some aspects of the way that they played last year, but I think the one thing that really stood out to me was the positive attitude that the players had and their willingness to learn and their willingness to adapt to change. So I really enjoyed being with them in the spring, and I thought that they took on board what we try to offer. And looking forward to this season and seeing how we can obviously bring the young players into the squad as well. And we need a good mixture between the returning players and the freshmen coming in to really give it a good go.
Who are some of those underclassmen that could see maybe a starting opportunity or significant minutes this year for you?
Well, I think one who is also a captain besides these three here is Kelsey Cook, who had a fantastic spring, great attitude. We named her captain as well as a sophomore, so we expect a lot out of her. Whitney Johns as a striker. She had an ACL. I think she tore her ACL in pre-season last year, or prior to pre-season. Yeah, so we expect a lot out of Whitney Johns as well. Tori Page scored a bunch of goals. She's been looking good also. We're looking for a few more to step up. Besides some of the returning players.
Let's bring the players in. Like I said, the time goes so quickly here, and we want to hear from you as well. We'll just go on down the line. Alexi, you're a midfielder. At least you're listed as a midfielder in here. I don't know if there's a position change there. Is there?
Yes.
I'm saying, okay. Where are you going to be at this year then?
For right now, he's throwing me back at center back.
Okay.
So definitely different aspect of the game. I'm learning a lot from. It's just a slight change, but.
And certainly, as Coach says, you want to play a position-oriented style. Certainly, center back and defenders and midfielders and whatnot, wherever you're at back there, if you're not up front trying to score, your role becomes big because you can't be careless with the ball. So how have you tried to focus on that as you've made that change at center back and just making sure that you can help those that are playing forward, you get those chances to score?
My big focus is learning to think quickly and to have the field in front of me, play simple 1-2 touches, get the ball off my foot, easy passes.
Alexa, you got a lot of changes. You changed positions. You got married this summer. A lot of changes
I know.
for you.
I know, lots of changes.
You got a new training partner. Has that been good for your soccer career?
Yeah, it has. This summer was awesome. Since I live in St. George, we had Quinn. He was so great for preparing us for the fit test that Jerry has for us. We have 2, and he was right there keeping our heads up, learning different dynamics of how to get in more shape. It was awesome.
Kylie, I was wondering, you guys lost a big player last year. She got a lot of accolades at the end of the season. Is there anyone on the team that you can see that would fill that role or could elevate to the same status she had last year? Is there any surprises or anyone that's elevated their game since last spring?
So I think we have a couple different players that could fill that role instead of just having one. We have a lot of standout players such as Tori Page and Whitley Johns. They're just really attacking minded, and especially Whitley coming back, seeing her come back from her ACL surgery. She's been really amazing to watch the growth and to see how she's improved, and so I'm really excited to see how she'll play.
I asked the volleyball team this. I'm going to ask you, Nicole, if you have any familiarity with any teams from the RMAC that, as far as maybe developing an instant rivalry with, or is it pretty much you just got to wait and see as it progresses?
Yeah, so we did play Westminster last year during our regular season, and that was a pretty fun game for us. I think we ended up scoring 8 goals, so it was pretty exciting for us to get a lot of players in that game, and so I'm having them be our in-state rivals for this tournament, or this conference will be really cool to see what happens with that. We've also played CMU before in the spring, and so I don't know, it's going to be exciting to come see new teams, new talents, and just face the challenges that we have with those.
What's it been like? A lot of people, you see the stadium, they think football, but man, the soccer teams are a big part of what happens in that stadium as well. How's it been over the last year to see that East Grandstand go up and just the different feel that you feel inside that stadium than maybe just having that side open? We'll start with you, Alexa. Maybe just go on down the table and kind of what the additions and the improvements at the stadium mean to you all as part of the soccer team as well.
It kind of makes it feel, it makes it feel a lot bigger, but it kind of makes it feel important. Like we're just in this really nice stadium. It kind of gets us excited, ready to play, but other than that, just a stadium.
Nicole, any thoughts on that? She kind of wrapped that up nicely.
For sure. It's been cool because we were here when they had the old field, the old track, and so just to see it kind of build from that into what it is now has been an awesome experience, because I think not only has the stadium changed, but the talent within our own team has grown and changed as well. So just that process.
If I'm not mistaken, if we go down to Kylie too, you got a few extra yards of playing surface on each side when they put that new field in, right?
Yeah, that's been nice because there's different times where you'd go to slide to keep the ball in, and then you're sliding onto the track. And I know for Nicole especially, she does her flip throw, so that's nice to give her a little bit more space around the side. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, being part of Media Day with us, Coach. I know that goes so fast. I wish we had more time, but we're trying to work through all of your practice schedules and your meetings and make sure that we can do all that. And that's why we don't even want to mess with next week when you're trying to deal with class schedules as well. But we appreciate you stopping by and being part of Media Day. We're looking forward to seeing how the women's soccer team does this year.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We got to run to our next break, no pun intended. We're going to bring in the cross-country team next after this timeout. This is Dixie State Fall Sports Media Day. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this timeout.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Radio Dixie 91.3. We don't play that. Nope, not that. A big fat no there. That's what we play. And stuff like that. On St. George's only alternative, Radio Dixie 91.3. Oh, and from 9 till midnight, we play this.
I need a one dance.
And this. Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
$25.
Good job!
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back to the 2018 Dixie State Fall Sports Media Day, live from the CEC TV studios. Our next team is literally running into one of the toughest conferences in its sport in the nation. It's time to welcome the men's and women's cross-country teams to Media Day. Coach Decker and your crew, thanks for being here today. Before we jump into the questions, let's just have you introduce yourself, Coach. I know that seems a little redundant for you because we know you, but we'll start with you and then just go on down and introduce yourselves.
Yeah, Coach Justin Decker. This is my 8th year as head coach for men's and women's cross country.
I'm Tyson McKeon. I'm a sophomore.
My name is Megan Sidwell. I'm also a sophomore.
I'm Lainey Wells, and I'm a sophomore as well.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, Coach. Let's just have you start with kind of an opening statement on this year's team, and then we'll talk about that new conference and how tough that new conference is going to be as well, and then talk about your team specifically.
Yeah, we're real excited about the group that we have this year. Several of our key runners from last year, the year before, are back with us. So they're providing the leadership we have and the leadership we need and the experience we need for the newcomers. And there are several newcomers that are going to play key roles on this year's team too, for both the men and women. Some freshmen, a couple transfers. So we have some help coming in to add to the returners. So we're pretty excited.
Talk about the new conference, the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. As we've said, it's no secret those teams get to train at altitude. You have your Adams States, your teams over there that are competing for national championships every single year. And obviously the conference championships are an important meet, but you get to compete in regionals as well. But what does this new conference mean for you as a team?
Yeah, exactly. RMAC is hands down the #1 conference in Division II in the nation for sports of cross country, distance running. Adams State historically and currently is kind of the dominant D2 program in the country. They've won nationals, both men and women, last year, and they win nationals more often than not. So we're not coming into the conference with goals of being conference champs, because if we were conference champs, that would probably mean we were national champs as well. So we are just coming in excited for the step up in competition and race against those teams, and just the exposure that conference brings. If we get up to top 5 in the conference, that just does put a lot more exposure on our team regionally, nationally, and yeah, I think we have a shot to get up there.
Well, and how about that new region too? I know you and I were talking kind of as this last year was ending, the South Central region, and you were kind of comparing times with how you had done in the West region, and it seemed like fitting into the rest of the region was going to be pretty comparable, other than just the RMAC. Yeah, so RMAC is the dominant conference. There's they usually have 4 or 5 teams that are probably top 10 ranked nationally. But comparing the West region, where we have competed, to the South Central region, where we are now, after those top 5 teams, where the South Central is stronger, you're looking at teams 6 through 20. There's not quite the level of depth in the South Central as there was in the West. So, in past years, we could place higher at conference and have a more impressive showing there than the regional meet, just because of the overall depth of the West region. But this year, it's kind of flipped, where our main focus is that regional meet, because we could place 6th place at the conference and also be 6th at region, just because all the RMAC teams are the stronger teams in the region, which wasn't the case in the past with the Pac West and West region.
Coach, how have you evolved as coach? New training methods, anything you're doing different, recruiting wise? How's that going?
Yeah, I'm learning more and trying to get better all around every single year. So that goes recruiting, training. You know, I'm studying more, trying to get better with our workouts and things we can improve on every year, and recruiting as well, entering new areas. You know, historically we have relied a lot on Utah because there are so many good high school programs and runners in Utah, and we've had Arizona. More recently, we have been having several strong recruits from the Vegas area, just because in the whole state of Nevada there's not a single collegiate men's cross-country program. Both Nevada, Reno, and UNLV have women's program, but not men. So, you know, we have the whole Vegas area where they don't even have a place in Nevada to go to run in college if they want. So that's been a big boost for us there, and we've been getting several from Idaho too. So kind of expanding our reach for recruiting, and it's been pretty
Who are a
good.
couple of those new players that you think can really bolster some of your team scores?
Who they are specific? So men, some of our top newcomers. We have Kyle Ward coming in, who's actually a transfer from Southern Utah. And SUU, their cross country distance program is usually like a top 10 program in Division I, and so he was a top 7 runner for them 2 years ago when they went and compete in the nationals in D1. So, you know, he brings a lot of experience, and excited to come and compete for us at the D2 level and see what he could do. Women's side, one of them is Megan Sidwell to my left over here. She ran for us 2 years ago and was our number 2 runner as a freshman, and served a mission, and now she's back and been training hard, so going to be one of the leaders on the team. Even though she'll be a sophomore, you know, she does have a lot of experience, and we're excited to have her back. Samantha Jacobson's probably our top freshman. She was one of the top 5A runners in Utah this past year, which is, you know, again, Utah's very competitive in the high school cross country.
Tyson, you got a year under your belt now already. Just talk about the differences between training in high school and in college, and also the different levels of competition between the two.
Definitely in college, I think there's a lot more pressure put on you because there's just a lot more pressure put on you because, I mean, you're running against other colleges, other people that maybe you used to know when you ran in high school. I feel like in high school, the world's a lot smaller. You don't know as much. You're more competing against your little region and your little space and your own team, your own school, really.
Megan, talk about getting off your mission. Has it been tough getting back into the routine?
It's been a little tough. I was able to actually run throughout my whole mission, stay in shape that way. Right now I'm recovering from an injury, so I'm hoping by next week I'll be able to be fully back training. But yeah, it's just completely different from like high school in general. It just takes, especially going from a mission as well, it just takes a certain type of motivation to be able to like get yourself to that next level. And that was the biggest difference coming in my freshman year, and especially coming in now is, I mean, like, you have incredible coaches. Our coach is awesome, Coach Justin and Coach Ross. They help so much, but it also takes a certain level of commitment and motivation yourself, which I think is so important at a collegiate level.
Laney, Laney, I want to bring you in for just a second. You had some top 20 finishes last year. How do you build on that? What have you been doing in the off season? I'm just curious if you're really excited about the season. You feel like this is going to be a big jump for you? You're going to be able to maybe get into those top 10s and compete for some wins this year?
So we are in a harder, I guess, conference. Is that what you call it? Yeah. But this summer I've been putting in a lot of miles, doing a lot more than I did last summer. So I feel like I'm already kind of ahead of the game. But I think a big part of this season is we have a lot of awesome people coming back and new freshmen, and I think just as a team we'll do awesome. So I'm excited.
Of course, we talk a lot about the the RMAC championship and competing in the conference, and that's just one race, and that's second to last race of the season. There's a lot of work to do before that. After a few schedule tweaks, you're going to open up at BYU here in a couple weeks, and then at UNLV. Let's just talk with you players. Coach mentioned kind of that recruiting footprint, and Utah, Northern Utah here, and then into Las Vegas area as well. There's places where you get to go run. Let's start with you, Tyson. That maybe are close to home and you're familiar with the areas, right? When you go run these routes?
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty familiar with the area. I grew up in Salt Lake area around Stansbury High School.
Is it nice to be able to go run, say, up at BYU and Provo, and maybe there's even family and friends that can come and support you?
It's super nice. There's always someone that I know that would be able to kind of support me and cheer me on. And the team does the same thing too, so it's always nice. Always someone there.
Megan, originally the team was going to go down to Biola, compete, and probably ask you the same question as being from Northern Utah. Now you just get to go up to Provo and hopefully run that race and be in front of family and friends, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely it definitely helps a lot having people there supporting you.
Lainey, you've gone through a similar schedule last year. You're going down to UC San Diego as well, but last year you ran at BYU, and then did you go to UNLV last year, and then to SUU again? So you're familiar with some of these races you're going to. How big will that be for you this year going through the second time around?
Yeah, I think it's a huge advantage to have. I feel like last year it was really hard not knowing the courses and stuff that we raced, but I feel like going into this year I can visualize the different races and I can prepare better for them.
Well, it's always exciting as the new year starts, and Coach, we're running out of time here just a little bit, but we appreciate you bringing your team by, and we'll be watching closely and as these races get underway, and of course covering you all the way, getting recap stories online, and hopefully we see some good finishes and some records set this year. We're excited for all of you to get going this year. So thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you.
We've got to take one final timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with the men's soccer team as our final team of the day here in the 2018 Fall Sports Media Day. We take a quick timeout, and we'll be back right after this. Oh, lunchtime. I'm starving.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Carrick, have you heard about the most exciting new thing on campus this semester?
Oh, you must be talking about the new grandstand addition on the east side of Trailblazer Stadium.
No, man, that's actually not what I'm talking about.
Oh, you must be referring to the new Human Performance Center they're building on campus.
Well, that's a good guess, Carrick, but nope, wrong again.
Oh, I know. You mean that this is the first season for Dixie State as a full member in the RMAC?
All those things are really exciting, Carrick, but the most exciting new thing on campus is the new Trailblazer Weekly show every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on CEC TV, the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page, and on Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
You're right. That is more exciting. Trailblazer Weekly, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. beginning on August 29th on CEC TV, Dixie State Athletics YouTube page, and Radio Dixie 91.3 FM.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Well, the 2018 DSU Fall Media Day is nearly in the books, but before we close up the show, we've got one final team on the set, a team that's been one of the most successful Dixie State teams over the last few years. It's time for the men's soccer team to join us here at Fall Sports Media Day. Coach Broadhead and the crew helping us wrap up our Media Day this year. Thanks for being here. First of all, Coach, we know you well, but it'd be redundant, but we're going to have you introduce yourself. We'll go on down the line and, tell us what year you are and what position you play, and let's get to know you here before things get underway.
Hi everyone, I'm head coach Johnny Broadhead. I'll let these guys.
I'm Dominic D'Amato. I play center midfield.
I'm Zach Nielsen. I'm the goalkeeper.
I'm Oscar Robles, and I'm a left back.
Moses Medina, and I'm a forward.
Zach is the goalkeeper. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have a different color polo for you. No, I'm just kidding, Coach. Let's start with you. Let's have just give a general kind of synopsis of how these first few days of practice been, kind of an opening statement, and then we'll start with questions.
It's been good. It's been that early preseason, so we're going through fitness and just seeing the durability of players. Going through the ringer and seeing how they hold up. Their job's to kind of maintain that all year, and this is that time of year where it gets tested. But it's gone well. All these guys sitting next to me, great leaders on the team. We've got a number of new guys. And I think the leadership's going to help that new group come in and see how it's set. Like you said, they've been successful. These guys have seen it from before it was successful to now, and I like the look of it, the blend of the team for sure.
Pick fifth. Your thoughts on that in the conference? New conference for you too. Get your thoughts on some new opponents you haven't played before or played for a while.
Yeah, we've been able to be familiar since I've been here, knowing the transition was going to happen. So it is what it is. If the other coaches aren't picking us dead last, they've obviously heard something about us coming from somewhere else. Usually a new team kind of, maybe doesn't have the favor of the hand. But, when I got here in the spring, we played out at Durango with Coach Oberholzer in Fort Lewis, so we got familiar with them. Adams State came there and played. That's at Durango, tough place to play. We played at Colorado Mesa, and we've also played at UCCS in Colorado Springs. So, picked fifth by all those coaches. It's a great conference, very similar to Pacific West. I mean, we finished fifth last fall, and it was within a couple points, second place to fifth place. And I kind of see it being no different in the RMAC. Those teams that are right there, it's going to be squeaked out. So, we feel like we're a little familiar playing games out there, and for them to vote us there, I think we know what we're in for. So.
What's maybe a difference on last year's team? We got some guys back, but have you added more speed, more durability, more endurance, better defenders? Like, what was the focus in the offseason? What did you want to improve on the most?
Probably a little more structure of how things are ran. So everybody's role, maybe not necessarily on the field, but just trying to get guys from the top to the bottom taking ownership of certain roles on the team, duties, standards, things like that. I think the guys spoke up and just kind of feel like that structure on the field, but more importantly off the field with everyone's jobs, whatever it is, doing laundry or picking up after others and carrying gear and just all that stuff. I'd say this overall standard of the team, there's a little bit more pride probably when you have success, knowing that you played a big part of it. I think that'll help us quite a bit.
You got 6 starters back from last year. How big is that, and how are those other starting jobs in the fall camp battles progressing?
Well, I mean, I'll remind the 6 returners that just because you're a returner doesn't mean it's what are you doing for me today. I think their leadership and experience, before we even decide a starting lineup, is going to impact the team. And as far as besides those 6, who is it that's competing? Those 6 will hold a standard that everyone will see. Like, they've learned something here. I've got to take a page out of their book. So these guys sitting next to me, I really can't say enough. They haven't always been the same player. They've evolved into this, and I think they need to understand, and I think they do, that our team's success depends on the guys that are returning showing, like, you got to do it every day. What are you doing for me now? Doesn't matter that we were here before. Every day I'm a new player, and I can impact the team. So,
even though the success is kind of the last couple of years, the team philosophy's changed a little bit over the time. You're more, it was more defensive a few years ago, but you brought more of an attack. Would you say it's evolving that way, or is it staying more defensive?
I think that's been more so the personnel that have come in, maybe not necessarily my style. I feel like I am a little quicker to coach ideas in the attack and make sure those are looked at the right way. Every coach is looking at one side of the ball. I mean, you know what I mean? And some coaches are purely looking defensively certain days, and I'd say I'm more of an attacking-minded player, so that's there. But I got to keep in check because that first place team, that goal differential, they're always 2-1. At the end of the season, 2 goals scored for every 1 goal given up. It's not 1.5 to 1. I mean, it's a clear separation. So we have players that have come in and helped that offense, that team evolve a little bit. But we are definitely, I think every college soccer team will say that, offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And these guys' goals are championships. And I think we have the ability to continue to score goals, but we gave up a lot of unnecessary goals last year that we need to really crack down on. And I think that 2-to-1 kind of ratio will work its way back into our favor, and those are championship teams.
Let's get the players involved here. As we're up against kind of a hard out here at the end of the show coming up, so we want to hear from you guys before we get to that point. Let's just move on down the line. Dominic, you're senior. You've put in your time here at Dixie State, had some great successes, been part of some great teams here at Dixie State. What expectations do you have? What do you think this year has in store for you guys as a team?
I think these past years has really set the foundation for kind of the mentality that it's not good enough just to go out and compete. Like, we want to go out, we want to play good soccer, we want to be class on and off the field and get the wins that we know we deserve. So
that's pretty rewarding to know that you've come in and helped build a culture in a program and help just turn it complete 180.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's really rewarding seeing how far the program has come since I've come, all the guys I've met, all the teammates I've had. It's been a ride, and we're here one last one, so ready to enjoy it.
Zach, sorry about my lame joke about the different color polo at the start. But hey, goalkeeper, you're used to it, I'm sure. How excited for you to just get out there between the posts this year, and this year, and hopefully get some wins and have some fun between the posts out there.
Yeah, I'm excited. We look really good this year. Coach did a really good job at bringing in some guys to help us with our structure in the back. We're looking strong. I'm excited to be in between, to have the line that I have, the guys I have to help guide and then lead us to, I guess, big success and working together. I don't know. I'm excited.
A lot of people, when they look at the goalkeeper, they see the diving stops and they see, maybe a penalty kick or whatever it is, but there's a lot more to the position than just that. I mean, you're guiding guys on defense, and you just talk about that, your role as a leader back there. You might not be up involved in everything, but you can see everything, and you can help guys know where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I think my coach tells me it's honestly 80% mental, 20% skill. The best goalkeepers don't get any shots on goal. Being able to guide your back line and your midfield, to make sure that they're in the right spots and the right places, is huge. And like I said, with the personnel that we brought in this year, we definitely are going to have that opportunity to keep it to, like Coach said, to a 2-to-1. We look to keep 0 goals and keep working at it with that.
You were co-goaltender of the year last year in the Pac West. How cool would it be to maybe grab that award in the brand new conference? What would that mean to you?
It would mean a lot. It was very rewarding and very humbling to get that reward last season. We didn't hit quite the goals that we wanted to, and just to receive that was huge for me. The goal definitely this year is to, as a team, to keep working and progressing and getting better, and then with that will come such awards. And so, keeping that goal, differential down, hopefully stuff like that will keep coming.
Point State, you got a lot of hardware last year at the end of the season. Thought, man, you really got a lot of awards last year. But this year you're not going to have your brother alongside you. How's that going to be different? Or have you think you can get the cohesiveness with other players that you did with your brother? And just what are your expectations this year?
Yeah, of course it's going to be a little different without him, just because we've grown up playing since we were little. But I feel like there's other players that also know how to play the game the same way he does, and just getting the ball to me, just having that same mindset of going forward to the goal. I like it.
Scotty, we got to get you and your other questions as well, as we're kind of running up against that 1:30, that hard out. They're going to just kick us off the air if we're not here at 1:30. But as a defender, you listen to Zach talk about how important how you guys work together. I mean, how's it been playing with Zach now for a couple of seasons, just being on that same page and just knowing, hey, I can't let that ball get past me because I don't want that pressure of knowing I'm the one that broke down and let that goal be scored.
I mean, it's good because Zach's always communicating with me and the rest of the defenders, knowing when to switch sides, when the players coming behind me. It's always good to trust Zach as a goalkeeper.
Do you get just as much satisfaction as maybe stopping a goal, scoring attempt, than maybe say Moises scoring a goal?
Yeah, I love to just crack players, honestly.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We kind of run out of time here, but we appreciate you being part of Media Day with us. And Coach, we're looking forward to being able to watch some scrimmages here in the coming days, and then in a couple weeks the regular season. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's been a great fall media day, but we have run out of time. Before we wrap things up, we'd like to thank the coaches and the players of the fall sports programs for taking the time to be with us today. We'd also like to thank the entire CEC TV crew who have worked tirelessly to get us and keep us on the air throughout the event. I want to thank Andy Thompson, our radio producer on the radio side, as well as Devin Dixon and Darren Cole for helping make this event a success. Most of all, we thank all of you who have watched or listened for your support of Dixie State Athletics. Here's to another great season. For everyone involved today, I'm Carrick Sagmiller saying thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.